Have you ever heard of the Louis Vuitton brand? Who are we kidding? Of course you have. LVMH is the biggest fashion company in the world. Over the years, LV's expert craftsmanship has cultivated the biggest and best customers around the world. Other luxury brands like Tiffany & Company, Dior, Sephora, Fendi, Tag Heuer, Fenty, Marc Jacobs, and Hublot have all partnered with LV. But like the majority of the most popular brands, this business had extremely humble beginnings. You would never know from looking at Louis Vuitton's current business and financial success that the company was founded by a man who spent his teenage years sleeping in a forest, was unemployed, and had no formal education. Louis Vuitton is a true rags-to-riches business success story. The company is now among the world's leading luxury brands, but the story of this multi-billion-dollar business began with a street kid from a very modest background. This is the true story of Louis Vuitton and how a modest family business grew to become one of the most influential brands in the world. Louis Vuitton was born in France in 1821, beginning a long line of historical heritage. When Vuitton was only 10 years old, his mother passed away, and shortly after, his father remarried. According to legend, Vuitton's new stepmother was every bit as stern and evil as the evil stepmother from a Cinderella story. Vuitton, a brave and independent child, made the decision to leave Angers by foot after becoming frustrated with his stepmother and becoming bored with the small-town lifestyle. Louis, a 13-year-old boy at the time, slipped out of the farmhouse and headed for Paris. When he got there, he was hungry and jobless and managed to find odd jobs with craftspeople. He was also homeless, so he usually slept outside in the woods with nothing but a blanket to keep him warm. At that time, Paris's first train line had just begun service. The aristocrats frequently traveled with paintings, furniture, and musical instruments, so they needed solidly built boxes to prevent damage to their belongings. Louis made the decision to look for work in the trade after picking up some of these skills while traveling to Paris. Fortunately, Louis was taken on as an apprentice by craftsman Monsieur Maréchal. Louis didn't make much money, but Maréchal's clients liked him because of his willingness and eagerness to learn. Later on, the Empress of France, Eugénie de Montijo, hired him to work for her as her personal packer and boxmaker. This gave Vuitton access to a group of wealthy and royal customers who would hire him for the rest of his life and well into the future, as the Louis Vuitton brand developed into the well-known luxury leather and lifestyle company it is today. Business was now booming, and Vuitton received personal orders not only from French royalty, but also from Ismail Pasha, the Khedive of Egypt. Vuitton got married to Clémence Émilie Perriot in 1854, and soon afterward, he opened his first shop. Louis had so many ideas right away. Back then, traditional boxes were made from leather and were rectangular shaped. The lids were dome-shaped so water would not soak through the leather. This made it difficult to stack the boxes and made loading them more time-consuming. So, in 1858, 4 years after opening his own shop, Vuitton debuted an entirely new trunk. Instead of leather, it was made of a gray canvas that was lighter, more durable, and more impervious to water and odors. However, the key selling point was that unlike all previous trunks, which were dome-shaped, Vuitton's trunks were rectangular, making them stackable and far more convenient for shipping via new means of transport like the railroad and steamship. Most people consider Vuitton's trunk the birth of modern luggage. Although customers were skeptical about its benefits at first, it was quickly adopted by the public and is now a must-have accessory. In less than 2 years, Vuitton's box rose to become a popular item. Around 1867, Louis Vuitton made the decision to broaden the scope of his company by introducing a new invention: handbags. At the time, handbags were considered unfashionable and were hated by many. They were also heavy and looked out of place, but Louis made the decision to use canvas for handbags. These handbags quickly gained popularity, and other designs were made available so that women could pair them with various outfits. In 1870, however, Vuitton's business was interrupted by the outbreak of the Franco-Prussian War and the subsequent siege of Paris, which gave way to a bloody civil war that destroyed the French Empire. Despite the fact that the family's products were very popular, Louis lost his home when war broke out and destroyed the business, causing him to lose his home a second time. On January 28, 1871, the siege was finally over, and when Vuitton went back to Agnières, he discovered that the town had been destroyed, his employees dispersed, his property had been stolen, and his shop had been torn down. Vuitton immediately committed himself to the rebuilding of his company, displaying the same dogged determination he displayed when he walked nearly 300 miles by himself at the age of 13. Within a few months, he had constructed a new store at a new address, 1 Rue Scribe, and with this new location came a shift in focus toward luxury. In comparison to Vuitton's previous location in Agnières, Rue Scribe, which was home to the illustrious Jockey Club, was located in the center of the new Paris and had a noticeably more luxurious atmosphere. Vuitton had succeeded in getting his company back on the map by 1872, and it was that same year that he designed a new trunk style with beige canvas and red stripes. Many people liked the new design because it was more modern and made it possible for people to stand out. So, in order to sell more products, Louis Vuitton made a strategic business decision and opened a store in 1885 in London, the capital of the British Empire and the richest city in the world. As a result, Vuitton's business was now beginning to operate internationally, and more American millionaires, explorers, and members of the royal family were among his new clientele. Vuitton carried on running his business out of 1 Rue Scribe for the following 20 years, inventing high-end luxury luggage until his death on February 27, 1892, at the age of 70. However, the Louis Vuitton brand survived the death of its namesake creator. The Louis Vuitton brand developed, under his son Georges, into the well-known luxury leather and lifestyle company it is today. Georges is credited with creating the company's iconic LV monogram and future generations of Vuittons. In 1987, the business merged with Moet Hennessy, a maker of cognac and champagne, to create the luxury goods conglomerate LVMH. The aim of both businesses was to prevent any threat of an outside takeover. LV is now the most valuable luxury brand in the world, with a market value that exceeds $360 billion. The French luxury conglomerate now consists of 75 independently managed subsidiaries that fall under 6 branches: wine and spirits, fashion and leather goods, perfumes and cosmetics, watches and jewelry, selective retailing, and miscellaneous activities. Notable brands include, as the name suggests, Moet Chandon, Hennessy, and Louis Vuitton, but also extend to other prestigious labels like Christian Dior, Fendi, Givenchy, Marc Jacobs, Stella McCartney, Loewe, Loro Piana, Kenzo, Celine, Sephora, Princess Yachts, Tag Heuer, Bulgari, and Tiffany & Company. Since 1989, 73-year-old French businessman Bernard Arnault has served as chairman and CEO of the company. With a net worth of over $170 billion, he is the second richest person in the world and the richest in Europe. You can learn more about him in our video about the top 10 richest people alive in 2022. This is Luxury Channel, and we hope you enjoyed this video. Don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel. See you next time.